Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first story is titled, Complain About Something That Has Nothing to Do With You? Allow me to correct it. I, F, 5'10", work in a parts department. We have a technician here, M, 5'2"-ish, who is a miserable human being. A bully to anyone and everyone. Consistently rude for no reason, demanding and demeaning. Our department is under massive construction. As such, we have very little storage and the department is a mess. No trip hazard, but cluttered. I've worked hard at keeping floor space safe and clear as I'm going to be wheelchair bound shortly due to reconstructive surgery to fix a lifelong problem with my feet/legs. Now, this doesn't directly affect him as no one other than authorized parts personnel are authorized in our storage areas. This technician has been horrible, especially to me, especially since construction started and we are short-staffed. If we don't have parts immediately ready for him, he yells and swears. He complained about the mess, and now I have to have every part on a shelf. Cue malicious compliance. Everyone in my department is around my height. We also have very tall shelving units. We never use the top of the units. I've now moved every common part needed by technicians to the top of our shelves. By stretching, all parts personnel are able to easily reach these parts. I've also gotten the Rude Tech exclusive permission for him to be able to come back and grab parts. The finale. We have a stepladder, hollow metal tube type. This is supposed to be for parts use, but Rude Tech constantly steals it, leaving it outside or where it shouldn't be. He hates asking for it and refuses to ever accept or ask for help reaching things. Remember the aforementioned construction? Well, we're pouring concrete today. The construction workers were more than happy to fill the hollow tubes of the ladder with new concrete. So now I get to watch this jerk, who's made his toxic masculinity everyone else's problem, lug this 60-pound ladder around all because he couldn't just be a decent human. The next story is titled, Steal. Guilt is torturous. Anyone who works retail knows that shoplifting is a major problem. Depending on the company, how and when you can confront a shoplifter can vary. I'm a shift supervisor for a retail drugstore chain. This day one of my employees, Emp, unlocks the bathroom for a kid who looks to be about 10. A moment later, she hears paper ripping through the bathroom door. She could not enter due to her being female and a customer in the men's bathroom. After the boy leaves, Emp enters the men's bathroom and finds an empty Pokemon card box. She reports the box to me and points out the kid in pharmacy with his mom. Due to the circumstances, I feel the proper criteria and requirements have not been met for me to report the boy to his mom. The company has some strict policy about confronting shoplifters and has fired people for not following policy. I will not mention the policy here. However, I tell Emp that we are going to guilt the boy. If he is innocent, our plan will have no effect on him. If he's guilty, he's going to hurt. Part of working retail is to casually approach customers asking if they need help. I notice the boy and his mom browsing the vitamin aisle. I give Emp the box and tell her to go give them the casual customer service. Emp does it, and the boy freaks out, quickly saying, "They're fine and don't need anything." You could hear the fright in the boy's voice. I then see the boy and his mom in pharmacy. The mom is on her phone with what sounds like her insurance company. This usually means she's here to pick up a prescription, but there's a problem with the insurance. They'll be here for a few hours. My main task that morning was inventory. I would be walking all over the store for a few hours with my handheld, finding and counting certain items. We also have a device that plays security messages over the intercom. Press a button and a certain security message will play. We press it whenever we see a potential shoplifter, and randomly every 15 to 30 minutes to scare away potential shoplifters. I decide to carry that device, along with the empty box, with me. I go along doing my inventory. Whenever I walk past the boy, I make sure the box is in my hand closest to him. Sometimes I spin it on my finger. I wait the 15 to 30 minutes to press the security button, but I wait as I'm approaching the boy to press it. Every time the boy sees me, he gets the look of fright on his face. After about an hour, I see the boy whining to his mom about him being bored and when are they going to leave. The mom hands him some cash to buy some snacks. I inform my front cashier, FC, about the boy and hand him a Pokemon toy. FC places it on the counter, appearing as if a customer just left it there. When FC is ringing the boy up, he accidentally picks up the toy and asks the boy if it's his. The boy says no. FC later told me that the boy turned pale white and started shaking just at the mention of the word Pokemon. After buying his snacks, the boy is really pulling his mom's leg, wanting to get out of the store. The mom tells him she's busy and to please sit down and enjoy his snacks. The boy is doing everything possible to avoid seeing me. After 2 hours on the phone, the mom is finally able to get her prescription. The boy is walking as fast as he can without running. He wants out of the store. I don't know what happened to the boy afterwards, but I hope he learned his lesson about stealing and will never do it again. The next story is titled, Karen Calls 911 and Claims My Classic Car is Stolen, Steals My Keys, and Drives My Car into a River. I never thought I'd be having problems with my neighbors. I don't like intruding anyone's life or annoying anyone, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. This story is a little old, but it's worth listening. I had heard from other people who lived in the street next to me that my immediate neighbor, Jack, had a cold war ongoing with the previous resident of the house I now lived in. One of them even said that Jack was the reason the last resident decided to move away. He's incredibly petty, and he makes no effort to hide his jealousy. It's obvious that the fact that my house is the biggest on the street is the main reason he's horrible to anyone who lives in it. Jack is incredibly jealous. He has this tiny dog that has been trained to take a dump right in front of my gate every day. The dog is taken out for a walk before the sun rises, so no one can ever say that it's Jack's dog who does this, but that's evident as there's no one else who owns a pet dog on our street. And this was only the beginning. He tried to weld my gate, cut a tree I had in my front yard, and he tried breaking in multiple times. I saw him peeping through the gate, and he even tried scratching my car. But I was always paying attention, and I knew that's how Jack was. And I made sure I never screwed up in front of Jack in any aspect whatsoever, which wasn't very hard because I lead a straightforward life and everything that I own is because I worked hard for it. Right after I finished my high school, I started hustling to make a name for myself in the game creating sector. I juggled college and work, which allowed me to gain more experience than other people my age. This is how I managed to buy my own house at 22 and then a Jaguar E-Type at 24. I could clearly tell that he was jealous, and I can understand. He was much older than me, and he didn't have half of what I did. But the truth was that he was a drunk, and it seemed like he liked it. I don't know if he always did drugs, but I'm sure about alcohol. His eyes were always empty, and he was almost never able to walk straight. He shouldn't even be allowed to drive most days, and I know he's drunk half the time, even at his workplace. But he still refused to accept that just because he can't afford an expensive car, someone who works much harder than him could be. Jack was the first one to come talk to me when the car first came home. He went on to make a huge scene out of jealousy, and then accused me of stealing the car. The man had already decided that I couldn't possibly own something nicer than him fair and square, so he demanded that I hand over the keys. When I yelled at him and told him there's no way I'm letting him anywhere near my new car, he called the police. He first told them that I had stolen the car, but I was clearly unbothered as I had all the necessary documents. I even wanted them to come, just so I could prove it to him without a doubt that the car is mine. He was shocked when he saw that my name was on the documents. I really believe that seeing that the car was not actually mine was his biggest desire. He started telling all kinds of stupid things, trying to convince the cops that I was really a bad person. He told them that I did drugs and that I was drunk every day, which was funny coming from him. I should have realized that a man that spent so long brooding over my success would certainly have something up his sleeve. I'd have to admit that I was a little stunned when they found a small packet of white substance on my porch. I was terrified about what it could mean if the packet was cocaine, but once the policeman took me to the station and tested the substance, they discovered that it was just flour. Jack did get himself into a tight situation, but since there was no concrete evidence that he planted the flour on my porch, the police couldn't do anything more than extract a fine for false information. Once I had gotten back home, I went through the footage of my house's security camera. After hours of going through the same thing, I finally found video proof of Jack tampering with the chair on my porch and placing something near it. This meant I had everything I needed to get Jack into so much more trouble than just a fine. But going through footage for so long had tired me out. It didn't make sense that I had to sacrifice so much of my time just to bring someone else problems. If I did that, I'd be no different from Jack. So I decided to let it go. So I went to sleep. In the middle, I hear my car's engine going. I jump out and look out the window, and that's when I see Jack driving my car. I ran downstairs and I see the front door opened and a mess all around the living room. I quickly take out my phone and call the police. After I explain to them the whole thing, they come and pick me up. We follow Jack as I had a GPS tracker in my car. I can see that he keeps driving towards a river, but I'm not even thinking that he could be so mad as to do something like that. We were getting closer and closer to him, but we still arrived too late. My car was already sinking when I got out of the police car. I fell on my knees as I saw the car going deep in the river. I looked over to Jack, who was smiling, drunk. The police handcuffed him and took him to the police station. I sued him for everything he had done to me. And fortunately, I received money for my car, but the sad feeling was still there. I would visit the river from time to time, thinking of how I lost one of my most precious things because of an insane man. I never managed to find a car that looked exactly like that one, and so I stopped trying to replace it. I just bought a totally different car and went on. The only good thing was that Jack was going to be in jail for a long time. The next story is titled, A Poisoned Apple. A story from my days as a grad student in chemistry, late 1984 or early 1985. Reporting a revenge dispensed by another. First-year chemistry grad students shared a large multi-desk office that included a refrigerator for storing food. No chemicals. One morning, one of the other students discovered that overnight an apple he was keeping in the refrigerator had been stolen. After asking around to determine that none of us had taken it, he devised a revenge. He left a note in the refrigerator saying, as best I remember it all these years later, "The apple you stole yesterday had malic acid in it. You messed with the chemist at your own peril." The next day, a night janitor reported to the health center stating that he had been poisoned. But no punishment was meted out to the grad student poisoner. Malic acid is the naturally occurring chemical that makes apples taste tart, and the apple had not been adulterated. You mess with a chemist at your own peril. The last story is titled, She Should Have Been Nice to Me. I posted this on another subreddit, just want to know if I overreacted. I'm a 23-year-old college student. Now, it's my second year in college. I was a C student in school, but now my grades are way better than before. Anyway, in my country, if a student wants to study in college, they have to get the MSAT exams, or SAT in other countries. And there's English, Math, Arabic exams. And we have to get the score the college wants in 2 years, or they will kick you out forever. So I've passed all the exams in 1 semester, and my score in the English exam was very high compared to the other students. It's my second language, and it's not perfect, I know. And since it's a small college, I know a lot of students I was with in some classes, and I have a good relationship with them. We help each other and all that stuff. And one of the students that I consider one of my friends kept failing in the English exam. So as a good friend, I tried to help her. And sometimes I was even missing classes for her. I know that's stupid. So last semester, it was the last chance for her to pass the exam, and I doubt she was even studying for it. So 1 week till the exam, and while we were studying, she asked me if I could take the exam instead of her. Some students did it and got away with it. So after thinking about it, I agreed to take the exam. She will 100% pass the exam, so that happened in college, in the student's room. And there was another student we know, but she wasn't studying with us. And we ordered some food, and I went outside to get it. And when I came back, before entering the room, I heard her talking crap about me and laughing with the other student. She was mocking my accent and the way I'm trying to be more social with everyone. I wasn't like that before. But there was literally no reason for her to say that. And, of course, that hurts my feelings. And I was angry, but I didn't want her to know that I heard everything she said, and I'm 100% sure she said my name. So, after a week before the exam, I told her to bring me some coffee and donuts, because why not? I entered the exam room, thankfully no one noticed, and I was purposely answering the questions wrong, just random clicking sometimes. And when I finished and went outside, she was standing there holding the coffee like an idiot, and asked me how was it. And I said, "Congratulations, my friend, you no longer have to worry about the exam." Man, the smile on her face, lol. So, of course, she went home and didn't talk to me at all, because why should she? She got what she wants. Anyway, I didn't see her this semester since she got kicked out after 2 years of studying. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.